what he did something so crazy in front of the whole town. People still talk about it today. Ever feel like you're the smartest person in the room, but you're just too tired to prove it? What's up, everyone? Today we're diving into a story about a guy who was professionally lazy, but low-key a genius. By the time we're done, you're going to see exactly how lazy people can actually outwork everyone else when they use their heads. Plus, for those of you leveling up your English, I've woven in some fresh American slang and vocabulary so you can pick up the language naturally while we vibe with this story. Stick around until the end, because the lesson here is a total game changer for anyone struggling to find their drive. Once upon a time, in a sleepy town in Ohio, there was this kid named Jackson. Jackson lived with his folks in a modest farmhouse out on the edge of the plains. Now, Jackson had a reputation. The kid was lazy, like won't get off the couch for a remote lazy. Every day he was supposed to help his dad out in the cornfields, but his only real job was to keep the crows from eating the crop. Most people would run around, shouting and swinging their arms. But Jackson, he wasn't about that life. He didn't want to break a sweat. Instead of running laps around the field, Jackson got creative. He rigged up these wooden poles all over the farm and linked them together with a web of fishing lines. This way, he could just chill on the porch, pull one string, and the whole setup would rattle and scare the birds away. He was literally working from home before it was a thing. His dad saw this and felt a bit uneasy. He worried that if life ever got real, Jackson wouldn't have the grit to handle it. But since the job got done, he let it slide. Then, one scorching summer, the vibes shifted. A massive drought hit the Midwest, and Jackson's dad got seriously ill. Suddenly, the entire weight of the farm was on Jackson's shoulders. He tried to keep up, but he just didn't have the hustle muscle developed. Without his dad's strength, the corn started to wither away. One night, Jackson sat out under the stars, feeling like a total failure. He realized that his shortcuts couldn't save his family from a real crisis. He felt the sting of disappointment, thinking he'd let everyone down. The next morning, the town was buzzing. A scout from a major tech and sports foundation in Chicago was announcing a massive Iron and Intellect competition. The prize? A $100,000 grant. Jackson realized this was his comeback moment. This money could fix the farm and pay the medical bills. Without a second thought, he signed up. The locals literally laughed in his face. They were like, "You, the kid who sleeps until noon, is going to beat the strongest athletes in the state." Jackson didn't clap back. He just packed his bags. When the tournament kicked off at a massive sports complex in Illinois, the atmosphere was electric. Jackson looked around and felt a pit in his stomach. He was surrounded by absolute units, guys who looked like they lived in the gym. The first challenge, a race across a massive, choppy lake. The top 3 finishers would move on. The official shouted, 3, 2, 1, go! And everyone dove into the water, splashing like crazy. Jackson stood on the shore, watching them go. He knew he couldn't outswim these guys. He had to pivot. While the others were exhausted, mid-lake, fighting the current, Jackson sprinted into a nearby wooded area by the docks. He grabbed some discarded plastic barrels and some heavy-duty duct tape and whipped together a makeshift raft. He snagged a flat piece of plywood for a paddle and pushed off. He thought to himself, the rules said cross the lake. They didn't say I had to swim it. While the athletes were gassing out, Jackson was gliding. He ended up taking 3rd place, snagging a spot in the finals through pure strategy. The final round was the real deal. The contestants were faced with a massive, heavy crate filled with sand. The goal? Move that crate 1 mile down a gravel road to the finish line. They could choose one tool from a nearby workshop to help. The first guy grabbed a heavy tow rope and started straining his back, trying to drag the thing. The second guy grabbed a crowbar, trying to lever it forward inch by inch. Jackson didn't rush. He took a beat to analyze the situation. He knew he couldn't win with raw power. Jackson walked over and picked up a simple power saw. The crowd was dead silent, totally confused. "What's he gonna do, build a birdhouse?" someone joked. But Jackson sat down and started cutting the crate apart. He emptied the sand and used the wood to build 4 sturdy, circular wheels. He reassembled the frame on top of them. While the other guys were drenched in sweat, barely moving their crates, Jackson just gave his wagon a little nudge. It started rolling. He walked casually behind it, steering it toward the finish line as the crowd went wild. Jackson crossed that line first, proving that being lazy is sometimes just a catalyst for innovation. He didn't win because he was the strongest. He won because he had a why, his family back home in Ohio. The takeaway? If you're feeling unmotivated, maybe you just haven't found a goal big enough to ignite your brain. We also picked up some cool phrases today like absolute units and break a sweat. Keep practicing your English, keep thinking outside the box, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Catch you in the next one.